Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. On April 18th, 2025, an order was rendered by the Honorable Stephen J. Hippler memorializing oral rulings on motions in limine. What this basically means is that the court made some verbal rulings from the bench during hearings in the marathon April 9th, 2025 oral arguments on multiple motions in limine. And so what he's doing now is he is putting down these verbal rulings into writing. I want to go over one that is on page 3. It is the denial of state's motion in limine regarding improper DP comments. As you know, this is a capital case. Mr. Koberger is facing, if he is found guilty following trial, the possible ultimate sentence. It says here, the state moves under IRE 401 and 403 to preclude defense counsel from making what it calls, quote, improper comments about the DP. Specifically, that the state is, quote, attempting to unalive, using the K word here, defendant, which defense counsel has stated in past hearings. Defendant stipulates, that means agrees, to using phrases that comport with, quote, existing language in statute and jury instructions, end of quote. So in other words, what the defense has done here is that it agrees that it will limit itself to language that is included in statutes and jury instructions. In other words, that is proper in the eyes of the law. Judge Hippler's ruling continues. The court is unwilling to enter an order requiring defense counsel to act professionally and comply with existing rules. As defense counsel recognizes, any such statements would be argumentative and improper. The court trusts defense counsel will comport themselves accordingly. The motion is denied as unnecessary. So let's go back and look at some of this language here. It begins by saying the state moves, and what that means is this is the state's motion. It is a motion in limine. In limine means the state is moving the court for the entry of an order before trial. A motion is an application for a court order for whatever relief, whatever remedy the proponent, the person who has signed that motion, is asking the court for. Motion in limine regarding improper DP comments by the defense. The state moves under IRE 401 and 403, citing as legal authority, according to the court, these rules of evidence. IRE, Idaho Rule of Evidence 401, and Idaho Rule of Evidence 403. When you see those terms, as you will frequently do, especially with these various motions in limine, because they're dealing with the possible exclusion or inclusion of evidence at the upcoming jury trial. The state wants an order preventing, in writing, telling defense counsel, you will not use these words. However, as the court has found, he expects that defense counsel will comport their affairs, especially in front of the jury, appropriately and accordingly, after defense counsel stipulated that it will not use this language. State's trying to unalive my client because that's not in any jury instruction or statute. Just going to limit themselves to proper language according to the law. So therefore, we see the denial of this motion as unnecessary. This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone podcast. My name's Kathy. Thanks for joining us here today.